Previously on X-Men, Gambit, Storm, and Jubilee head to Genosha to investigate. We also discover that the X-Men are the worst secret agents in history, and those super stealthy Sentinels reappear and apprehend the X-Men. What happens next? Will the X-Men be able to escape? Find out right now on an all-new Uncanny X-Cast. Hey everyone, I'm your host and leader of the blue team, Wes Vereen, aka Wes. And this is my co-host and leader of the gold team, Jason.
What's up,
we've also got our special guest host returning, John. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here again.
Yeah, man.
Glad to have
nice
you back,
to have
man. Yeah. Well, week to week, we do a deep dive here on the X-Men animated series. And John and I watched it back in the day. Jason's totally brand new to this.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into the episode, guys, you ever had a bad vacation experience?
Yes.
Oh, really? I want to hear this.
I don't want to throw names out there, but the Dominican Republic. It was great up until I got cut up by coral. I was doing like some, boogie board surfing. Wasn't cool enough to get a surfboard out there. I got a boogie board and some waves. And this like dead coral up near the shore just all over me. So then I had to explain to everybody on the beach later, trying to be cool.
That's gruesome.
I remember a bad experience. I don't think the overall vacation itself was bad, but this was when I was a lot younger. Brief thing about me: I was traumatized by thunderstorms when I was really, really young, and for the longest time, anytime a thunderstorm happened, I would get freak out, and I would just get scared. Right. One time we were in Florida, family vacation. And
another beach.
And so beaches are a bad thing that we will come to see here in a few. But anyway, a storm was rolling in, right? This was a nasty ass looking storm. We were on a top level floor. We had just gotten to the hotel, and I was already starting to kind of panic a little bit. Young Jason, not knowing what to do. I started reading Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. I look outside. And there
very calming.
I look outside and there is a funnel, a water spout forming on the beach. And what do? I bring the book closer to my face and I am laser focused on this book. I don't remember anything other than seeing a water spout and it's like, okay, nope, I can't deal with this. I'm going to read Jurassic Park.
I'm going to read into chaos theory to calm my mind.
I'm going to read into the worst fictional zoo disaster ever, and that's going to be the calming voice in this terrible young Jason situation.
Yeah, I love how you found refuge from water in a novel about human-eating dinosaur monsters. But wherever you guys are thinking for your next vacation, I can definitely recommend for you to stay clear of Genosha because the X-Men decide to go there, and they end up getting collared. It's pretty bad. We catch up with them. Last time they were caught by Sentinels. Now they're in a prison, okay? They've all got collars on them, like I said, and they're being spoken to over the intercom system by a mysterious figure known as Leader. Quick note, I thought this was the Leader from the Hulk comic books, who was played by Tim Blake Nelson in the MCU, and they teased him coming in, and he's never showed back up. But I found out this is a totally original character just created for the show.
Oh,
it explains why his costume is probably is atrocious. It's definitely atrocious. It probably explains why it is.
It looks like a cult leader type thing. I noticed.
Yeah.
Horrible. But I did like his creepy intercom talking. Like at one point he says, "Remember, your leader loves you," and I was just like, "It's so good." Like like you said, he's like John Jones, Jonestown kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Jim Jones. Jim Jones. Jones.
But yeah, no,
Jimmy Jones.
And I'm sure we'll get into this. But yeah, watching this again for these notes, that part, the intercom part, gave me kind of North Korean type of propaganda vibes.
100%.
Yeah.
There's also on the limousine, and I think that it appeared somewhere else. They have a flag, the Genosian flag. If you look at it, it's a bird on a red flag. It looks very fascist. Very Third Reichy. So, yeah. But yeah,
Zoom into that one.
yeah, this episode is packed to the brim with stuff. There's tons of cameos. There's like 4 or 5 different plot lines all happening at once. Quick impressions, Jason, of the overall episode.
Yeah, man. This was another really good episode. Some stuff that has happened that I'm not sure who that person is. I've seen from like, MCU films, Deadpool 2 to be exact. So there's something going on there that I'm not 100% sure on the character. So I'd like to see if y'all happen to know any more about that. But overall, this was a really good episode. Kind of really showed Storm's claustrophobia to, way more intense of a light, I think. And then just overall, it was entertaining. And Gambit is... I don't know about Gambit anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah. John, what did you think?
The cameos are definitely a showstopper. I mean, you get a lot coming into this. Lots of stories to set up in the future as well. One of the other things that I don't know if a lot of people like really hone in on, but you start to see, I don't know, but maybe they fooled around with like different production studios, or the production studio was having like a boom in creativity. One thing you'll notice, like say if someone gets socked in the jaw, what was it? Oh, we can't talk about that episode yet. But let's say someone gets socked on the jaw and they go flying across at this speed, right? If you get hit, you're probably gonna go instead of wah. So what I really liked in this episode was that they were paying more attention to detail of like real world physics, like people getting hit in the ground like real quick, the timing of everything in the animation.
More snappy.
So that was really... Say again?
Maybe like more of a kind of a more snappy kind of feel to it, chop out a few frames to make that impact feel a bit more. You think that's it?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Cool.
Exactly. So
good eye.
Yeah. Keeping those eyes open, man.
Yeah, no, I love that you've got the eye for the animation, things like that. But yeah, so speaking of the cameos, there's a ton of them, man. We've got, previously I'd wondered about where the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants were, and now we found out they're captured on Genosha. There's Pyro, Avalanche, the Blob, Jennifer Lawrence, or as we call her, Mystique.
That was good.
But they're all, Jason knows her as Jennifer Lawrence. But yeah, all of them, they all are main characters in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They've all been captured. So that I liked that continuity. And now they're free. Well, by the end of this episode, they will be free. So, but there's also Caliban, who is a Morlock, and he's actually in the comics the most popular of the Morlocks, but he makes his appearance here. We've also got Sunfire, and he was an X-Men, classic X-Men. Thunderbird is also in here, and him and Sunfire were both part of the team around the same time, I believe. Sorry if I'm wrong, Internet. I'm sure they'll have a level-headed reaction to the giant-sized issue. But Thunderbird, so Morph dies in the second episode of the animated series. Thunderbird originally served that purpose, where he was the X-Men that dies early on. He was supposed to die in the first issue. They decided that was too soon, and I think they killed him 3 issues in.
Bummer.
So, yeah. But he's John Proudstar, and then his brother, his identical brother, they pulled a beer fest landfill thing here, where John Proudstar dies, and then his better, faster, stronger brother looks exactly like him. James Proudstar appears and takes the name Thunderbird, so it's like nothing ever happened. But then the second Thunderbird, James Proudstar, would eventually be rebranded as Warpath, but he'd have the same costume.
Oh, okay.
There's also Domino. She makes her first actual appearance as opposed to the cameo on the TV screen. We've got Feral, Richter. All 3 of them are members of X-Force. You've got Northstar, Aurora, and what looked to be an evil Jean Grey, the girl who was like taking control of the colors. If you notice, she looks almost exactly like Jean Grey. So I don't know, maybe Madeline Pryor undercover.
Nice.
In any event, Storm early on attempts to break free, and how does that go for her?
Yeah, she soars high and immediately falls. Like, did you not just hear, Storm, that these collars are meant
They
to
just
stop your?
told you.
They just told you these collars are meant to stop your powers. Which
Yeah.
I guess
Doesn't hurt to try.
it doesn't hurt to try. But then that leads me to a weird question: where do the powers come from? Like, she can manipulate weather and stuff. Is it mind? Is it a physical thing? Because with collars, I feel like that's something physical that you'd have to suppress. But that I don't like. How does that Gambit's powers? Okay, that kind of makes a little bit of sense because he can, but it's still, there's matter. He's moving. He's not. You can't stop matter, or I assume everyone will die or something bad will happen. But yeah, I don't understand how those collars necessarily work.
I don't want to get too far ahead in the series. So remember this moment because we're going to clip this part and then I'm going to time travel into another episode. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remembering this now.
Yeah. Later on in the episode, the villains are talking at a table and they mention attributing it to a genius in Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which will play a part in an upcoming episode. So we're going to put a pin in that for now. But good observation. Good observation. So when I referenced, we'll cut back to me referencing a genius in Scotland. But yeah, and what did you guys think of the Sentinels and their stealth? Is just probably the most impressive thing of the show so far to me, because they snuck up on Jubilee early on by hiding behind a building, and then they snuck up on the X-Men in their villa, and now this Sentinel, which is a robot, it's comprised of like electricity, circuits, wires. Hid his
Ears,
entire,
pumps, swivels.
Yeah, hid his entire like 8-story body inside of a river, and just emerges like head first in his entire. How did he fit in there? Like, what? Did they dig a hole for the Sentinel and just kept him there the whole time?
For this one moment, no.
For this one moment, he emerges and captures Storm, and she gets the box for her troubles.
Yeah,
which we all, like you mentioned earlier, her claustrophobia is the worst thing you can do to her.
Yeah, I do want to say it made no sense how that Sentinel was just waiting for someone to escape so that specific Sentinel could come out. I did like that shot though. That was a really cool moment.
It was a cool visual, but I was just like, I thought when his head emerged that it wasn't going to be an entire Sentinel.
It was just like a head.
Just like Maddox.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they modified this one, and no, his entire existence was just underwater for how long? And he works quickly. So they're water resistant on top of being stealthy. Gambit holds back Jubilee as she attempts to try to help Storm, which starts to plant a seed of distrust between Jubilee and Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then something explodes in the forest, and we see Trask say, "It's him," and they're looking at this distraction in the forest, and Jubilee manages to grab a little piece of rebar that she's going to use later on.
Is that what that was? Oh, I thought it was like
I think so.
I thought it was a paperclip for some reason. I thought
Something,
that was a Sentinel paperclip.
Yeah, it was a Sentinel paperclip. I'm sorry, they're working on the rebar later. It's just Gambit and Jubilee working on the rebar.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like yarn on the floor, and I didn't know it was stiff until she used it to pick a lock later. Meanwhile, back at the X Mansion, Wolverine's back. He had time to clear his head. And now he joins the team, and Cyclops is furious with the Genosian phone service.
Yeah, it's so weird. Such a weird thing to be that upset about. Remind me to never get shares in Genosha phones or something. Like, Cyclops, shut up.
Cyclops, do you even have a stock portfolio? Shut up. But that scene, literally, I feel like they should have put that scene and the next X Mansion scene together, because all that happens is we learn that Wolverine's back and Cyclops hates the Genosian phone services. Because then we cut back to Genosha just long enough to find out that Jubilee is able to break free. And then we cut back to the X Mansion. So it's pretty abrupt back and forth there in terms of the flow of the story. And so back to Cyclops being mad at the Genosian phone services. He's ready to investigate. The whole team's ready to set out in the Blackbird to go rescue the or to go see what's going on with the Genosian team.
Mm-hmm.
And Xavier has some things he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's very secretive about it. Not even secretive. He just doesn't drop a lot of info and just continues back into his gaze into his monitor.
It's so cryptic.
Yeah. Half of his students are missing, and the other half is about to go attempt to find them. And he's more invested in a booty call he's placed into Scotland.
Be the kids. I got things to do.
Yeah. And he even says, I have some things to do. He doesn't even try to come up with a clever line. He totally disrespects the X-Men.
I have a note like, what things does X need to do right now? Like, what is more important than saving your students? I assume that's going to come into play later on. I'm trying to think again. My X-Men knowledge is from the movies and movies only. I'm trying to think of anyone in any of the movies I have seen, which is X2 through Age of Apocalypse with Oscar Isaac. And
did you ever see Dark Phoenix?
Nah, I heard it wasn't very good, so I didn't seem like it was something I wanted to see anyway. I was kind of done with X-Men 2.
Saw it in theaters.
Oh,
well,
I'm sorry.
I liked it.
Oh, well, hey, there you go.
Hey.
But yeah, I don't know who he's referring to, and I couldn't think of anyone that I have seen or anything I have seen that might allude to what is going on with Professor X right now.
You never saw X-Men First Class?
I did.
She's in that movie. But that's foreshadowing. We'll come back to that.
Oh, okay.
Moving right along. Back to Genosha. And so Jubilee is able to break free. She tries to talk to the other mutants in their cells about hatching a plan, and they all tell her to kick rocks, right? Like none of them, they disrespect
No
her.
one
They're
cares.
like, go away,
like,
little girl.
Like, yeah, like that big dude's like, just leave me alone. Go away.
All of them. Yeah, all of them. And then the next morning, Leader comes on and says, it's a new day. Welcome, blah, blah, blah. They all start waking up, get shuffled out of their cells. And Sunfire, who previous told her to pound sand, comes up behind her and goes, we're with you. Let us know when. What happened? How did all these mutants in their cells all have a change of heart while Jubilee's sleeping? Gambit's missing from his cell. Sunfire also tells her that they took him away in the night.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jubilee then kicks a guard and they run outside, right? She kicks the guard, she grabs the device, they run outside.
Yeah.
Now, to rewind this back, the Leader came on the intercom and says, it's a new day. And when they run outside, it's nighttime. So did Jubilee both kick the guard and time?
There's a power we don't know about with Jubilee. She hasn't come to grips with it yet. So it's still being figured out in the long run, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. But it doesn't go so well for the Resistance. They get stopped, and another Sentinel appears, and they capture Jubilee, and she gets the box for her troubles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did y'all think of this failed attempt when they say a mutant let the Genosian guards in on the plan?
For me, in my first viewing, I definitely thought it was going to be either the big dude that looks like Andre the Giant, kind of, him.
Blob?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Blob. And then the dude in the red jumpsuit. I initially thought it was going to, one of them ratted out Jubilee's plans. And then to see Gambit, walking in with the two guards on either side of him, and just Jubilee's like, damn, Gambit, why you gotta be like that? This was your idea in the first place. Why do you have to do this? That's not cool, man.
Yeah, what about you, John?
I love a good double, triple cross.
Yeah.
It does wonders for a 30-minute time slot. I think Rick and Morty did it good justice. I forget, it was like their 4th season episode or something like that.
Well said, though. That's exactly what this is. And in the box, I love this because previously we saw Storm's claustrophobia as a panic.
Mm-hmm.
But now we don't know how long, at least it's been overnight, right? That she's been in the
I
box.
feel like it's been like a
And
day or two. Yeah.
a day or two, yeah, but they depict her as delirious. And I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's out of her wits. And I like that dimension to her claustrophobia.
Yeah.
And she holds out hope that Gambit will save them. And Jubilee's less optimistic about that. Okay. And then we see Gyrick, Trask, and Leader all go up to Master Mold. And Master Mold, I don't know if you know, Jason, but Master Mold is a big character in the comics as well.
Wait, is Master Mold that big ass robot making robot?
Perfectly said.
Is that really what
Is that on a shirt or a sticker?
Big ass robot making robot.
Is that really an actual character? Because
Yeah.
what the hell? Okay, this is a robot that somehow makes an entire robot from the robot's chest. What in the world? Who thought, let's make a robot that makes these robots, but let's make the
It's also a prequel for The Matrix. It's not, but it'd be cool if it was.
like
And also, why give him hands if he's not going to use them to make the robots?
Or to cradle the babies.
yeah, like
Hey.
these robot
Alright.
babies are just
Points.
coming out of a chest like a xenomorph would. Just
Like an easy bake.
it's such a weird.
We got Matrix and Xenomorphs fused together.
And easy bakes.
Yeah, and Easy Base. Yeah.
It's
It's the 90s.
it's such a weird design. Like it makes no sense. Is the robot being made completely inside this chest cavity? Is there like a conveyor belt behind the robot that goes through his chest and the chest just births this thing? It's so weird.
It totally is. I like your conveyor belt idea. That's just where
It's just like a
they're done
door.
after the assembly line. Yeah. But Master Mold has actually been in the X-Men for a long time.
Really?
He was originally conceived. His first appearance was in X-Men number 15. He reappeared in X-Men number 16. But his first appearance was December 1965. And he was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Really? No way.
Yeah. So he's a holdover from the original run of X-Men.
I would have never. I thought it was just we need something weird for the show. Just a robot making robots. Yes, just do it and make that robot like 20 stories taller than the Sentinels that we currently have. How much money are they pumping into this robot that it could make this literally within minutes of each other, of one getting birthed out, another one's already on the way? Like, it's insane.
Yeah. All that Genoshan tourist revenue is just getting funneled right into the Sentinel budget. Yeah. And then we see the appearance of Cameron Hodge. He's in the comics. Cameron Hodge is an ambassador, and he later becomes part of the Phalanx. We won't get too far into that.
Okay.
But what I want to talk about is that Cameron Hodge in the comics hates mutants. However, if you notice, Cameron Hodge looks exactly like a character we've already seen in the animated series, Beast's lawyer.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
So there's no way that Cameron Hodge would help out a mutant because he hates the mutants.
Mhm.
My theory is that Cameron Hodge was never going to help Beast out, and that's why he delivered that ridiculous line about a simple felony. I think Cameron Hodge pretended to be Beast's lawyer, had the worst defense in history, so that Beast could get all the jail time. I don't know, John. What do you think?
No, I mean that's totally possible.
I don't know if it is true or not, but that'd be a really cool theory. If like they say, hey, what if we put layers within layers here, and you won't know until you go through it all? That'd be pretty cool.
And I think we have a good setup for like a good spy crime novel Reddit post here going.
Yeah, and
let's get on that.
He appears in a different colored suit than Beast's lawyer to kind of make him look different. But at some point in the episode, I'd have to go back and find it. He's wearing the exact same suit, and I was like, "That's Beast's lawyer, 100%." But in any event, it is revealed that Gambit is a traitor. Were you guys heartbroken by this revelation?
My knowledge.
Heartbroken?
Of Gambit,
No.
Oh, No,
Go ahead.
for me, sorry, John, didn't mean to cut you off there, but for me, my knowledge of Gambit, he's always been kind of a I can do it myself kind of attitude, at least from the games I used to like, the few Sega games that I had or played. I felt like he has that kind of not loner personality, but he doesn't need to be a part of a team to do what he feels needs to be done all the time.
Yeah. He likes going rogue.
Wait, is that like, are they a couple at some point in the show or the comics? Was that what that dig is for? Oh, did I open up a can of worms?
Jason, we only have a 30-minute time slot. We can't get into that right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But I'm sure Jared, if he's watching along at home, was heartbroken to find out that his favorite is a dirty, rotten traitor.
A slime sucking. What was the line? Slime sucking what?
Egg sucking.
Egg sucking.
Gutter trash.
Gutter trash.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so good. But yeah, I Gambit, obviously, I like how he's playing this because Gyrick asked him, "How can we trust you? You helped that mutant out at the mall." And he's like, they're like, you. He goes, "I don't like them. They don't like me. They're just using me, just like you."
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, yeah, he's playing both sides, but you're explaining why he's playing both
It's
sides.
in a very grounded way too. Like not one way. It's like I know what I'm like. I am to you both or to you also. I will play it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was smart, and I was like, dude, Gambit, he's consistently had the best lines. He's he's schmoozing ladies at the card store. He's very smart. I like it.
Yeah.
Other than the banana hammock thing, that's the only issue I have with him. He's rocking it in the hallways of the mansion, but then he never changes clothes when he's on Genosha. Couldn't even be bothered to put on a pair of shorts.
He doesn't do leg day.
He doesn't do leg day. There, that's why. Yeah, he's got skinny calves. Doesn't want to expose them. Hides them behind the trench coat. But Gambit is escorted away, and it's at that moment he decides to reveal that he's got a neat card trick. And what did y'all think of this part?
What I like is when characters do something that you think is going to go one way, but it's a complete 180, and it's just like a normal, you just opened the door. You didn't have to blow it up. You did something easy, and just having him go with a bunch of cards and seeing the guards look up at him and then just say peace and hop out the back.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
You know those scenes in movies where like the actors say like the title of the film in like a suave way, like every James Bond film or what have you? That's how it felt for me. I love those little things. Like
it's kind of
you want to get me juiced up. Yeah. Oh, he did it. Here he comes.
Did it. He said the thing.
We're in the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Yeah. But yeah, Gambit does a neat card trick, escapes for the moment, but he's quickly assisted by one of my favorite mutants, and that's Cable. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Jason, this is not your first time seeing Cable because I believe you saw him from the movie Deadpool 2.
Yeah, Deadpool 2. That is my only real knowledge of Cable, and I thought Cable was from the future. Because that's what he was in the movie, right? Like, Cable was from the future in the Deadpool 2 film. So, is he not a future mutant coming back to help out in any, like... That is what I don't, like... Is he a character for real time, or is he coming back from the future to figure or fix something else? Because I know there's some beef between him and the leader, but that is never discussed in this episode. So I don't know if that is something that maybe in a different timeline was something he did. I don't really know much about that. So am I wrong in that assessment on Cable?
I'll get back to you on that. But then, John, what do you feel about Cable? You're a little bit more familiar from him with the comics.
I needed more dramatic reverb whenever he showed his face.
More
twinkle in the eye. Yeah, that's what I felt that scene needed, but it got me juiced up. Like,
I mean, he's super. Like, I love how he is drawn. Like the first reveal of him, he looks so cool. besides knowing that it's a Rob Liefeld creation, and
Yes.
besides that, I know absolutely nothing about Cable other than it was Josh Brolin who played him.
Oh man! All right, so here we go. Cable was one of my absolute favorite X-Men. He's originally the leader of X-Force. Well, first he's in the New Mutants, then they formed X-Force, and then he's jumped in and out of the team at different periods. But I first became aware of Cable. I think it wasn't from the cartoon series. It was on the back of the action figures. So there was these old action figures for X-Men that I used to collect. The first run of them, I loved it. And I'd look at the back of the box and I saw Cable and I was like, who is this? He's very cool. So he has like a necklace. He's got like an X on it and he's got these bandoliers. He's got this big gun and he's supposed to have a robotic arm. And this episode, he had both of his human arms still. But I had the little Cable action figure. It was still to this day one of my favorite things. And I would actually give it to my father at night. I would give him an action figure to sleep with.
Aww.
To like keep him safe at night. So I would give him the little Cable action figure. And I remember it sitting on his alarm clock. But yeah, I love Cable. He's awesome. And in the comics, he is the son of Jason. Can you guess which X-Men? John's giving you a hint.
Wait, you did? I was looking it up.
I'm just giving you a huge hint.
The son of an X-Men, Professor X?
No, and okay, so let me rewind it back. You're totally right. Cable is a time-traveling mutant. For some reason in the show, because remember, Leader was just created for this episode.
Oh, okay.
So his whole backstory with Leader is not canon. It's not canon in the comics.
Oh, okay.
So just in this episode, Cable is like a terrorist in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why, but maybe my theory or a theory could be that this is one of his early time travels before he lost his arm.
Gotcha.
He's in the future, but he's actually the son of Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, so he is their son, and he's the brother to Rachel Summers, who's also an offspring from Cyclops and Jean Grey, but she's in the Days of Future Past timeline, so we won't touch upon it right now.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a progeny, ex-progeny. But anyway, Cable has both of his arms. He's there, and he helps save the day for Gambit. He helps with the Gambit escape. Gambit runs in and saves Jubilee and Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I was super happy to see is, especially after last episode, and we've talked about it before, the X-Men seem to be not sharp. They seem to be very oblivious about a lot of things. And as far as being strategists, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier sent him to Genosha instead of just reading minds. Cyclops gave them the worst cover in the world, that you're just tourists when they are just tourists. So it was cool for me to see Gambit steps up as the strategist.
Yeah.
He's fooling them. He knew when to play the moment, when to do the deception. It was great. And then they deliver the villains are all sitting at a table. They talk about how there's a genius genius scientist in Scotland that they helped get the collars from. And then Cable storms that party, and then the rest of the X-Men, along with the former prisoners of Genosha, the mutant prisoners of Genosha, all get rescued and end up kicking lots of ass.
Yeah.
And there's one scene I just wanted to highlight, is that there's a Sentinel. I don't know if it was designed like this on purpose, or Master Mold just aborted its creation halfway through. But there's like what I wrote here. I can't think of the name. I need y'all to help me out. But either the Termis Sentinel or the Sentinator. But it's like half Sentinel, half Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like got its robotic parts exposed. It had like the red eye.
Yeah, it's coming after Cable, right?
Yeah, I love that battle sequence, man. Like that thing was just, it seemed, I was able to take that Sentinel more seriously than I was an actual dumb, bumbling Sentinel.
That felt more...
They're evolving.
That felt a little bit more higher stakes. Yeah, I noticed that. That was a weird Sentinel to be birthed for some reason.
Yeah, it was like Master Mold under threat realized it needed to evolve its creation somehow.
Like Godzilla.
Yeah. Hey.
Sorry, I'm gonna throw one of those every time I can.
Oh yeah, it's the second Godzilla cameo. I love it.
No,
But yeah, it was a cool fight scene, and I did
Yeah.
like that thing seemed determined because Cable's a badass, and the Sentinel came in and looked like I'm ready to take you down, so that was cool. And then Cable, Hodge, and the leader all get carried away in a giant tidal wave, and I love this moment because Cable says right before they all get taken out, he's like, I just wanted to fix, because he's like, I trusted you once, and now I just want to fix my mistakes.
I like that.
So
yeah.
he's happy where he's at. And as the wave comes and takes them all out, he's laughing maniacally. And I thought, if this is the one time we see Cable, what a great episode that he shows up. He's a badass. He's this menace in the forest to this entire army. And then he laughs maniacally, dying.
Yeah.
Succeeding in his mission, like taking out the leader.
That's what I wrote too in one of my notes is Cable was very cool in this, like from the first his character design, just how he looks in this, again, from the movie or from what I've seen to the movie to this, it's so really, really cool. I love how he is drawn. I love the colors he has, like to his costume. But this scene specifically, when he says, I'm here to fix my mistake, was like a big hero moment, I feel like, for him. But with that being said, there's a big ass tidal wave literally just to the left of them. How could they not feel that either? This entire time that a giant rainstorm out of nowhere shows up, and then it's just a whole bunch of water coming, and he's just, he sacrificed himself for the greater good. It's just, dang, what a way to go out. Of course, this being X-Men, he's going to show up. There's no way he's not going to show up again in this series at some point. But yeah.
You don't believe that for a second episode in a row that water has killed a mutant?
But yeah, there's a good way to kill him.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And John, you said you did like this segment as well?
Oh, where the tidal wave comes?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I just don't think Cable cared. I think he knew he didn't care, and he wasn't going to let the other two run away. He's like, I
think Cable in his spare time hangs out with Laird Hamilton. They ride big waves in Hawaii, so I think he knew what was coming. He was fully prepared.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Something about the X-Men, both planning and water, seems to be a common downfall. But one thing I did want to point out, I love the voice acting for Cable. Like, it's not inflated. It's not like he's trying to prove like something in the voice has to carry a certain way. It carries on its own just that well. I thought that was really, really well done. And like you said, if it is the last time we see him, I mean, what a show.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I totally agree. I read that the inspiration for his voice was Clint Eastwood.
Really?
Yeah, and there's even a shot. I'd have to look into this a little bit further. It's been a busy week, but he stands over a guard very similarly to how Dirty Harry stands over that guy right before he asks him, do you feel lucky?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Good catch.
One thing we didn't touch on, or I wanted to touch on this episode is,
absolutely.
Gambit breaks free Jubilee and Storm and all the mutants, and then because they no longer have collars on, they are able to re-get their powers. And I really, really love the animation for Storm flying through the air, like seeing from the POV of Storm just kind of swooping in and going out again, zapping all those guards. I really liked that animation itself.
Yeah. She does this cool thing when she's fighting a Sentinel that she fires like a Kamehameha of lightning bolts. There's like a concentrated ball of lightning bolts that she fires at a Sentinel. And I was like, that is super cool. When did she learn this ability? And you reminded me just now that when Gambit rescues Jubilee and Storm, he says this line to Jubilee because he's got her hoisted over his shoulder and he's running through the forest with her. And he says something like, hey girl, how you sweat so much, but you don't lose any weight.
It's so...
You call her sweaty and fat. She's a teenage girl. They take things like that in stride, right?
Oh my! John has it's a 30-minute time slot. I'm gonna say this was done 30 years ago.
Gambit is the most charismatic, but when he wants to turn it on his head, he's very brutal. That was
Yeah,
hard.
I did notice that was a very weird thing for Gambit to say. I was like, why do you say that?
Uh,
You're trying to save these people might have heat exhaustion because they've been in a box for who knows how long.
Tell us,
to,
Jared. Tell us why.
yeah, Jared, come on, Gambit representative. To his credit, though, she was in the box where it's hot, right? She could have
Apparently.
taken off. She could have taken her jacket off. She could have taken her gloves off. She made that as bad as it possibly could be for herself. And they look like it's like vinyl, like
Yeah.
they're
It's like
what
fake faux
polythene?
leather
Like I
or
don't, yeah,
something weird.
it's like that horrible material that's like, ugh. So that's super sweaty stuff. Another funny thing to me is that Storm was captured in civilian clothes at the end of last episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And somebody decided to change her into what I imagine is very like it's an X-Men suit that doesn't breathe well. So like sorry to bring this up, but what I equate this to is wrestling. There's a character in wrestling named Goldust, and he wears an entire like from his neck down to his boots suit, and it's very similar to what Storm's wearing. And he said at the end of a match he'd take it off and it was just water. Like all in that
gross.
suit is just water.
Oof.
So I feel so bad for Storm having to wear something like that and being stuck in the box because that's her deepest fear, but also she's like cooking in there.
Yeah.
Question.
So maybe yeah.
So when they're checking into the hotel, the guy like zooms in on her like iris and people and everything, and then he uncovers like footage of like her like morphing into the suit. So like, is it binded to her? Is she able to just like zap into it? Like,
Is this like an Animorph situation going on here?
yeah.
I raised that question in the first episode to Jason because I was like, does she have a secret power that Rogue didn't know about? Because they're both at the mall in civilian gear, and Storm just does this like quick change into her outfit, and Rogue looks at her like, what is this? And Rogue fights the Sentinels in her normal civilian gear. So I was like, so if the X-Men had some like tech, how come Rogue doesn't have access to it? So, and something that Jason and I were talking about in the previous episode is that there's a lot of times where characters in the show have access to footage that they shouldn't have access to. Like in the previous episode, the guy is he's looking at the footage and it zooms into Storm's eye and then shows that. I'm like, who is this cameraman? Like, who is this guy following the X-Men around?
Yeah.
Zooming into their eyes on the battlefield. John, you may be a little bit more familiar with the character, but my theory is it's Mojo. He's recording all this stuff and selling bootleg copies to people. So
I'll take it.
yeah, we'll find out. But yeah, so the X-Men, Cable, Hodge, and Leader are dead. The home base X-Men show up in the Blackbird and they get the X-Men on board. And I love this little segment between Jubilee and Gambit is that Jubilee tells Gambit, I'm so glad that you saved us. I wasn't sure if you were tricking us or whatever. And Gambit says something along the lines of, how do you know you're not being fooled again right now? And that is exactly where I like Gambit to be played.
Mm-hmm.
Like that little, borderline. Can we trust him? Can we not? What's going on? Is he trying to be good to make up for the previous sins that he's committed? I know I alluded to this before with Jason and he didn't know about it, but John, are you familiar with the Morlock Massacre?
It's not ringing a bell.
Ooh,
educate me.
Well,
learn me.
let's just say one of our. Well, I don't want to spoil it for Jason in case it shows up in a later episode. But in the comics, the Raging Cajun had a part to play in that.
Ooh.
So he does have a past. There's the thing that sins he's got to atone for. But in any event, that's it. That's the episode, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought start to finish, action-packed episode. Tons of cameos. All the different plot lines came together. The pacing was well. But what as far as you guys, what are your final thoughts, Jason?
I really, really liked the episode itself. Sorry, doing something here real quick on a phone. But it was really, again, this is another fantastic episode. It is setting up for something. Something happens at the end of this episode. I don't know what's going on. or why they show up at the X Mansion and it's in shambles, right? I
Yes.
don't know what the
Yes.
deal is, but man, this was such a good episode
Yeah.
itself. So yeah,
That's fine. I feel like it's finally hitting its stride. Like things are tying into each other, and it's the
hmm
narrative is starting to become very cohesive, as opposed to like here's a bad guy, now we're switching
yeah,
it out with somebody
yeah.
else. John, what did you think? Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that the X Men do show up at the X Mansion, and it is completely decimated. Uh,
Yeah.
Obliterated.
maybe the booty call told Xavier something he didn't want to hear, or things went really well, and Xavier had the time of his life.
Oh my goodness.
He can walk again.
What's
Well, a few.
the scene from Doctor Strangelove at the very end? My feet, I can walk, and it just cuts.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe Xavier ran into a case of sexual healing and just went, overboard with Moira. Whoops. Anyway,
Xavier, you dog. Goodness.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I just had some random fan art pop into my head, so this has been a good talk.
Hey, there you go.
Yes, I'll keep you on the loop.
Yeah.
Second, like I loved how they're trying to communicate. Scott, he's like, "Oh, I'm getting his sack," and all of a sudden, like you hear like the turmoil happening, and then you get a quick shot of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
there's your Wolverine for
Yeah.
this episode.
Angry Wolverine.
That's the one thing. Like everyone's speaking, and yeah, it cuts to Wolverine, and he just growls. I'm like, hey, what's that contribution? But to wrap it up, what I loved, my final thoughts on the episode are not only do I love how Gambit played it and how intelligent it was, and that he was a strategist, but also we kind of touched on it before, how it alludes to it, how it related to his character, right? Because Gambit is somebody who plays with cards. He does card tricks, right? And what's the number one rule in card tricks is misdirection.
hmm
Don't watch
So,
the hands. Wait,
yeah,
don't watch
I
the mouth.
feel-
Watch the hands.
Yeah. So I feel like he played that well, and like Jason pointed out earlier, you think when he pulls the cards that he's going to explode one, or he's going to explode all of them. Throws them up in the air, uses misdirection, flies out, but he even misdirected his own teammates. And I think that, like I said, he at very early on in the episode, I think he figured out he couldn't trust them with some complex secrets like this, and had to play it solitaire style, but he did it with style. So yeah.
I've got one Gamut related quick fact for y'all before we cut out.
Oh, awesome.
So
Okay, I'm
in
excited.
Spider-Verse, Peter B. Parker gets his trench coat from none other than the Raging Cajun.
Are you serious? No
What?
way.
I'm not serious, but it'd be cool if it
Oh,
was.
God dang it,
Hey!
John.
Oh!
Gosh dang it, John. That would have been so cool.
Maybe it
John
could
with
be.
the-
I don't know.
John with the misdirection.
Ah,
Yeah. He's gambiting us now.
Dang it, John.
Wrong.
there's your triple cross right there.
Yeah. There's a triple, quadruple cross that happened.
Uh,
Live.
Couldn't resist.
Cool.
Couldn't resist.
Cool. Well, I appreciate y'all for being here and for doing this. John, thanks again for the special guest spot.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, viewers at home, thanks for sticking it out with us. And we'll be back next week and find out what happened with the X Mansion. Same X time, same X channel. Thanks, y'all. See ya.
Bye.
Laters.